Good morning. I gotta keep it quiet. I don't want to disturb my other guests. Good morning. He said it's mad early. I know. I just got done having my sahur meal. It's Ramadan, so some of us we up. I just got done eating. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Ramadan Kareem, Brandon. You said you up early. I'm about to go to sleep. You could play this back later on. Everybody who's supposed to be here, they're here. The DoorDash Don is in the building, right? Good morning, everybody. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. This is going to be a dandy early in the morning. Got over 60 people here. Y'all share this to y'all live streams. Let's see if we can wake everybody up. May said he dropping his album the day of Puff trial. Ramadan Kareem. Y'all come in here. I gotta get some tissue. Just give me 1 second, please. I just feel like I'm gonna sneeze. All right, I'm ready now. Why that title, if you didn't expose him, though, if the video came from IG pages, because the person that made me aware of it is my co-star on a zip code. And that's who stuck a fork in him. You ain't all the way cooked unless Zip get a hold of your ass. Early bird gets the worm. Right. Marcel Glow thought he said something really clever there. Good morning, everybody. Y'all share this live stream. Jules Dior. So, it all makes sense. It all makes sense now. Everything done in the dark will come to the light. This is gonna probably fuel the internet for the next week, maybe longer. It's definitely gonna change the trajectory of things. But now it makes sense. It makes sense. It all makes perfect sense now. It does. Now we know why Charleston Wright, why he run around saying, I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna snitch. I'll tell on one of these niggas. It all makes sense. It all makes sense now. It makes sense. Everything from top to bottom makes sense. The prophecy is fulfilled. He said, is he a plant? Oh my God. If y'all haven't seen the video already, go to Zip with the Drip's Instagram page. Zip with the Drip on Instagram. Please. I think his Instagram page is Mr. Let's Get to That. And you can go see a video of a young Charleston White looking like Damon Wayans on the stand testifying against his friends. The whole time that he been around, been online, campaigning, he's always been talking about how he'll tell on somebody. As if this was something that was sincere, that came from a sincere place. But no, that's not it. That's not it. He also was online the whole time talking about that he had a body. That nigga ain't killed no motherfucking body. His man killed somebody, and he told on him. He testified on him and got 12 years. And after doing something like that and it being covered by the news, he's a high profile rat. He told on somebody. He told on his homeboys. Told on your comrades, some niggas that you was with. So that makes you a rotten piece of shit. You was with them niggas. But anyway, Charleston White was a part of a crime that was very, very popular when I was younger. And I made videos about this on my YouTube page. The video is called The Starter Jacket Robberies of the late 80s, early 90s. Charleston White got a starter jacket case. He do. He do. Yeah, starter jackets. He got the starter jacket case. And I always said this. The the Central Park 5 case, the way it was described, there was some kids in the park wilding out, at night or whatever. I always said that reminded me of the starter jacket shit. We used to be mobbing before drugs became accessible to niggas, to young niggas, and we was able to buy starter jackets. Everybody was robbing and taking starter jackets. Starters was bigger than 8-ball jackets. Starters was bigger than Sherlins. There was nothing that was more coveted or valued at the time for some years, for a very, very long time, than a starter jacket. And the hats. I got them cases. I got starter jacket related cases as a juvenile, for some hats, I believe. But yeah, I always felt that the Central Park 5, even though they ultimately found some relief for their cases and their sentences. The fact that it was described as a juvenile teenage mob that was moving through the park at night. I said, that's how we used to be doing after carnivals and shit like that, after school, after parties, after dances and shit like that, after school dances on the way back to the projects. Anybody caught with a starter jacket, man, your ass was cooked. You was cooked. For real, niggas just gonna be on your ass like piranhas. And they weren't that expensive. I got my first one as a hand-me-down. My first two were hand-me-downs. My man D'Amico gave me a Buffalo Bills joint. My older brother gave me a New York Giants joint that I ended up wearing for a while, and then I traded it for a Boston Celtics. But Charleston White has I don't know if it was a juvenile case. Yeah, he said he went to juvenile prison. So yeah, he was young. This is a very, very typical case at the time. And when I seen the starters that they took, because they showed them, one of them was the LA Kings. That was a very, very, very popular. LA Kings and the Raiders. The LA Kings looked like the Raiders. They was black and silver. Those were very, very popular joints at the time. And yes, niggas was robbing and stealing for them joints. But anyway, Charleston White, he said it was only like $150, $200, but they was elite. My man said I still wear them. I got like 2 or 3 of them. I got a Seattle Seahawks. I think I got a Bulls joint. But Charleston White is on tape. Somebody found it, and it's gonna be viral all day today, of him testifying against his friends. So this is what gave birth to Charleston White. After Charleston White did what he did, he tried to make it as if he was about doing the right thing. But the truth is, he had to go over on that side and stay. He had to go on that side and stay. He had to go on that side and stay. He had to, I guess, go to, I guess he was a part of a nonprofit organization or whatever the case. He did something as a juvenile that totally rejected him. He could never be a part of anything street related because of what he did to his friends and shit. He testified against his homeboy for a starter jacket robbery. He got 12 years. This is what he always talks about. And this is the reason that he's always saying, I tell on the nigga. I tell on these niggas. I call the police on these niggas. Yeah, I'm a snitcher. He's been trying to justify what he did as a kid. He's been trying to justify it the whole time. All of this that you see that's going on is him trying to clear his conscience or make what he did to his friend right. That's what the Charleston, that's what gave birth to the Charleston White character. Yeah, that's what gave birth to the whole Charleston White campaign. The snitch this, the snitch that. And it makes total sense. It make everything that he said, fuck Nipsey, fuck the GDs, everything that he's ever said, it makes total sense now. It makes total sense. And I'm looking forward to hearing his explanation on why he told on his friend. Hold on. He said, wow, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense now. It makes a lot of sense now. He tried to make as if his crime fighting agenda came from a good place, as if it came from a sincere place. But in all reality, he had to go on that side and stay there because of what he did. When he woke up that morning and they went to that mall to do that starter jacket robbery, I think it started out as a retail theft because it looked like they was at a mall and shit. We was strong arming. We was taking starters off a motherfucker back. And yes, I got the retail theft case as a juvenile, fucking with them starter jackets and hats and shit. Yeah. Anything, not just a jacket at the time. Starter had short sets. They had jerseys. They had Dakota short sets, man. They did. They had Dakota short sets. On the 4th of July, Memorial Day and shit like that in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, that's what everybody wore. That's what everybody wore. Everybody. It wasn't nothing bigger at the time. It wasn't. This precedes Carl Kana. Any garment, any article of clothing that you could name, it was the starter jacket phenom first. It was. You can't name another article of clothing that was more coveted at the time. It was nothing. It wasn't no Iceberg. It wasn't no Carl Kana. It was nothing. It was starter. 100% starter. He said, facts, I had a Tar Heel starter in elementary school. You couldn't tell me nothing. He said, no, not in DC. You can't tell me an article of clothing that was more popular or coveted than a starter jacket. And as far as DC goes, what's the reason that the Washington Bullets was removed from the NBA? Since you know the DC story, what is the reason that they removed the Washington Bullets from the DC? From the NBA. Dennis, he said Eddie Bauer coach. Eddie Bauer coach wasn't bigger than starter. No way, no how. Everybody didn't have an Eddie Bauer coach. Eddie Bauer coach, that was some hustler shit. He said violence. It was because niggas was doing crime in them Washington Bullets jackets, and it was a little crew that was known for wearing them joints. And I don't know if they caught bodies or whatever, but it was a crew they might have been called the Bullets and shit. And they was in DC tearing shit up. And that's why the Washington Bullets ended up becoming the Washington Wizards. It was because of the name. Yeah. Top of the morning on my way to the gym. Get there, man. He said it was a crew in Buffalo called the Bullets. So yeah, that's what happened. But it was, you never seen no Pelly Pelly jacket news story on 60 Minutes and shit like that. Like it used to be coverage by Barbara Walters and people like that talking about how much violence was associated with the starter jackets and shit. Starter jackets ended up becoming almost like a stereotype article of clothing for young criminals and young drug dealers. They would tell you that and shit. And in my neighborhood, around 90, 91, when you came on the block, that's all you saw. Everybody got one on. Girls, everybody. I'm talking about everybody, man. You might hit the block. This is when niggas was outside selling rocks. You might see 40 different jackets and shit straight up. And this is before anything became like mega popular on a fashion tip. It was for whatever reason, it was the starter. He said, ask people you know from DC. It was no jacket in the world bigger than starter jackets in the late 80s and the early 90s at all. Everybody didn't have or could afford Pellies. People forget how much that shit cost back in the day. Yep, if you had a starter jacket, you know someone that had something for sale. The whole NBA be outside on niggas' backs. Go look at old movies and shit. Go look at old movies if you'll see it. For real. But they got the footage. They got they got digital paperwork for Charleston White. They got him on camera telling on his homeboys, testifying on his homeboys. And this is what gave birth to this character that you see online running around talking about, I'm a snitch. Yeah, I'm a snitch. It makes sense now. Because nobody woke up one morning and said, "Yo, I'm about to be a snitch. I'm about to tell on everybody." It had to be some type of incident that triggered this, and now we know. Now we know. I'm surprised that he went this long, because normally niggas, people from your hometown or niggas that you grew up with, if you start sustaining any types of success, they'll start hating first. And I'm surprised nobody ever brought this to the table. It probably was mentioned or whispered or some shit like that. But to find the actual video footage is very, very damaging. Brandon, I appreciate your super chat. He said, man, the NFL joints is crack. Yeah. Go back and watch NWA videos. Go back and watch Public Enemy, Chuck D. Chuck D always had on the Raiders. He started to wear, he always had on the Raiders, and he used to wear the P hat, which was the Pittsburgh Pirates and shit. But from that point on, maybe like, I think Starters probably came out in like the mid 1980s. It just went through the roof. It went crazy. It went crazy until the world had to catch up and start putting out more extravagant shit like leather jackets. As a matter of fact, when the leather shit first came through and they started like making custom leathers, like in some cities, you might have seen that Timberland leather that was popular in the early 90s. They was making the NBA teams too. The same people that was cutting them Timberland jackets up. Y'all seen that Timberland jacket. Everybody know if you from the inner city, you probably remember somebody that had that Timberland jacket with the big tree on the back, with the hood and shit. Somebody made that. Some niggas was cutting those joints up and making them joints. He said Averex is popping. Averex didn't start popping until the mid 90s, although Averex has been around since I think the 70s and shit. The term Averex is because some of the early Averex jackets, before they start making the colorful ones and shit like that, it was a real aviator's jackets, a real aviator, a pilot. It was jackets that they wore and shit. This Georgetown starter jacket with the G-Town Nikes is fire. The trench coat hockey Campbell joints. He said Todd 1, sweatsuits. You name it, shit that was, everybody don't know about Todd 1. I mentioned Todd 1 on here before and shit. I had one of them joints at elementary school. You mentioned shit that people had to be selling dope. You know what I mean? Like, your people had to be selling dope if you was wearing Todd 1. Nobody else was privy to that. No regular people wasn't wearing that at all. He said Pelly Pelly leather bomber. All of this leather shit that y'all name starter was before that. So yeah, right? We finally know why Charleston White does the things that he does. It's because he had to go on that side, and he basically promotes it and shit. He promotes it. And you know what's funny? His homeboy didn't have to kill him. His homeboy didn't have to kill him. What happened was they got away with the coats. They got away with the merch. And they made it to the car. And the dude that got killed, he was a good Samaritan. Y'all know how them good Samaritans is and shit. They'll just hop all in your shit. Good Samaritan ran up on the car and started beating on the window and shit. Beating on the window of the car and shit. Where you niggas going? Get them coats back. And his homeboy shot him in his back. That's what happened. And the reason why I know this is because Charleston White testified to this. Yeah. He said triple fat gooses, Le Cop Sportif, y'all naming all this drug dealer apparel. Y'all naming all this drug dealer apparel. Namaste. From India. Thank you. Rashawn, you see all this drug dealer paraphernalia they in here naming? If you watched MTV Raps back in the day, you would see Dr. Dre and Ed Lover wearing starter jackets. If you seen the movie Who's the Man back in the day, you seen starter jackets. You did. Again, if you was watching Public Enemy or NWA, the Raiders starter jacket, that was made popular by NWA. That LA King shit was made popular by NWA too. So niggas is watching rap videos in the late 80s, early 90s and shit. And it's adding to the whole starter phenom, the shit that we were seeing on television. So, you know, whenever a new team should drop or some shit like that, you probably seen it on TV. Bud Bundy even wore the Raiders starter. He said members only was a phenom. Members only was before starter. But again, members only, you had to know about that shit. Like, you probably had an older brother that was a hustler or an uncle or something that had a members only jacket. Everybody don't know about that shit. They actually got them shits around again and shit. Like, you'll see them joints in like TJ Maxx and shit like that. I seen a members only jacket like last year, and I was telling my little man, you know, what it was about. They said troops, all of this drug dealer apparel. Niggas couldn't afford triple fat gooses, Pelly, and Vance, and that shit was expensive. I'm trying to tell them that. The starters that was costing $100, those are the Parker style joints. That was kind of later. I think the original ones was probably like $70 or some shit. Probably depended on your size. I never got one out the store until I got a Miami Hurricanes. We called it the winter starter. That had the hood and had a zipper on the side, not the pullover one. It was one before that had the hood, the drawstrings and shit. You'll see that in old videos too. He said, I'm that age. I know what's hot when I'm what was not. Members only was way before it started. Members only was some shit coming out of the 70s. LA Bear was popular. Hustler Coat was pop. Everything that y'all saying, like a lot of the shit that y'all saying, you had to come to the block to see the fashion show. You had to come to the block and see the fashion show. The shit that you seen in school wasn't the same shit that you seen on the block and shit. Like if you lived on a drug block or you lived in the projects where niggas was outside hustling, that's where you seen all of this shit that y'all naming. But regular people didn't have it and shit. Like my brother was a hustler and shit, so I was going to school with Theodoras and shit like that, Todd One in the 80s and shit. And people would just be like astonished, like, God damn, man, where'd you get that and shit? But it was really my older brother and shit, you know what I mean? Sending me to the school dipped. He said members only. That shit is in Gabe's. I just said that I seen it in TJ Maxx or some shit like that. Yeah, I had Travel Fox. Y'all, again, y'all naming a bunch of drug shit. But getting back to the topic, the online community gonna be on fire all day today. All day today. Because Charleston White is viral again. And he's gonna take this time to go on tour trying to justify why he told on his friend and shit. Yeah, it was actually very, very, very self-serving deed what he done. You know what I mean? Telling on his friend and shit. Because when they woke up that morning to go to the store to hit them a lick, they was friends and shit. And his friend didn't know that his buddy was gonna say something that was gonna put him in jail. So basically, Charleston White got caught, or they all got caught, and he was the one that told the truth, told the story, and they normally give the first person to tell in the precinct. That's who get the deal. I know this because I had a strong arm robbery back in the day and an assault with two of my cousins and shit. And I had some gold fronts in my mouth. And one of the detectives, one of the detectives, police officer, detectives, whatever, he was a referee. He was a referee. So when we got arrested, he knew who I was from playing basketball. And I used to be wearing these fronts in my mouth playing basketball sometime and shit. And he said, Jamil, what happened to them gold fronts that you used to be wearing? And when he asked me that, I had them on. I had them in my mouth. I slipped them shits off my teeth with my tongue. Swallowed the motherfuckers right on the spot. But one of my cousins had already told who threw the brick. They wanted to know who threw this brick because, like I said, it was an aggravated assault. And they wanted to know who threw the brick because that's who did the damage. And while I'm in one room telling my story of how I didn't do anything, they got my other two cousins, they in other rooms and shit. We all separated. One of my cousins, he got to giving it up. So when it came time for us to go to court, I had to plea. I didn't know that he told that day. You don't find out until the day you go into court. they come out and tell you you're being adjudicated and you probably should plead guilty to this shit. Plead guilty for what? I ain't do nothing. That's not what your cousin said. And Charleston White basically did what my cousin did and shit. Straight up. Yep. He said Charleston White snitched on Dewberry. I don't think it was Dewberry. The dude's name was similar to that, though. It wasn't Dewberry because when Charleston White got online, that dude Dewberry used to be with him. I don't think Dewberry would have been running around with him. I don't think he'd have been running around with him as an adult. A dude did that to him. He said, you talked to your cousin since then. Nah, I didn't like forgive him until we was like well off into our adulthood, to keep it real and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I this is after I had continued to get in trouble and I had to understand the differences, um, the levels of criminality and shit. Like the my cousins that I was with, they was bad. Like they did things, but they wouldn't have did the same thing that happened that night. They wouldn't have did that by themselves. Whereas I was already raised in hell by myself. Like, so in a nutshell, I was a little bit more hardcore than them and shit. And you just got to understand who was with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people who would have been in my position would have just ate the case to spare them niggas from even getting in any trouble and shit. And shit, I could have ate the case. I should have ate the case because I'm the one that threw the brick. I'm the one that hit the motherfucking head with the brick and shit. So it was actually my doing. You know what I'm saying? But we was together and it didn't start. It wasn't my doing to begin with. We was stealing. We was boosting. And a good Samaritan. A good Samaritan. It's always the good Samaritans. He grabbed my cousin Fred and shit. He grabbed him. You got to let him go, fam. You know what I'm saying? And we trying to get away and shit. So this dude wasn't trying to unhand my cousin and shit. We got to chop you down to size and shit. He was a grown man, you know what I mean? We like 13, 14. Got to chop you down to size. So I hit him in the head with an alley apple. Bing! Put him straight down. We got arrested and shit. Got to the precinct. You find out that they talking about assault on the police. We like, man, we ain't assaulting no motherfucking police. Yes, you did. He just wasn't in uniform. So the dude that grabbed my cousin, he was a police officer and shit. He just wasn't in uniform. So this is why he acted out the way. This is why he was trying to stop us, or this is why he interjected. His name was Detective Tom Toffel. And I never forget when they told us in the police station that he was the police. I'm like, damn, man, I just clipped the police officer. And I did the exact act that you see Reginald Denny. You remember the Reginald Denny joint? I got a case like that as a juvenile. I swear to God, the exact same weapon, the exact same motion, the exact same result. Yeah, they shouldn't have fucked up Reginald Denny like that. He was just trying to get home from work, but he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that red brick that he hit him with, my man Tweet, he used to call them joints alley apples and shit because they was red and shit. So I got an alley apple case as a juvenile. Charleston White, he's gonna be viral for the rest of the day. Y'all get ready. Y'all here laughing about that. Yeah, I got a Reginald Denny case as a juvenile and shit. That was one of the cases that I went to that home that I was locked up with Oskino at, Vision Quest. That was one of the cases. Check it out. Boom. I caught that case. Back then and shit, you had to do something very, very severe for them to arrest you as a juvenile and keep you and send you to the juvenile detention center. It was called Edmonell. You had to do something real serious. So, they call your parents. They come get you from the police station and shit like that. And, they turn you loose. You know what I'm saying? So I was already on probation when I did that. Well, I was about to be on juvenile probation when I did that. So boom, I got that case on my ass. And then like about 3 weeks later, no less than a month, I caught another assault. Man, my man Tree was got into it with this cat. And we rolling on him. And there was a little piece of wood, like it's a 2x4, like nearby and shit. Took that motherfucker and I whacked this cat across his head. He was bigger than us too. Split him open. So I got 2 aggravated assaults. This is how I learned the severity of aggravated assault. I had a whole bunch of them as a juvenile and shit. I'm not even knowing that this is like one of the worst things that you can do to somebody. But where I'm from, it was promoted. It was promoted like that's what you did to motherfuckers that was bigger than you and shit. You get a piece of something and you bust, they go straight for their top, bust their fucking head and shit. So I had a few of them joints as a juvenile. That's what took me down. He said, trying to ride the Charleston white wave. Trying to ride the Charleston white wave. I was Gully TV before Charleston White came here. And not only that, Charleston White is a fink. Charleston White is a fink. He always say, I never told or testified on a nigga. He said, damn, bro, you was bad. You don't even know the half, man. I was a hellraiser as a juvenile and shit. Like, I didn't chill out until like the juvenile joints weren't a bad experience all like that. They give you a snack. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you was eating better in a juvenile joint than you was eating at home and shit. So you in a juvenile institution where they buy you shit, they give you clothes, they give you sneakers. It's all you can eat somewhat. You know what I mean? It's all you can eat. You getting chips, snacks and shit. Like, you play basketball all day. It was almost like being away at a camp. You know what I'm saying? But once you start going to jail and shit like that, it just take all of that shit up out of you. The red light goes off in your head when you're about to do some bullshit. This ain't juvenile. You getting locked up for 6 months, a year, shit like that. And the whole time is playtime. But jail just take it all out. It take all of your energy away. For real. You be having to work and shit like that. People think that people in jail go to jail and just don't do nothing, just be sitting around. That's not, it don't work like that in Pennsylvania prisons. You're going to work. You're going to work. And for somebody who ain't never had a job before, having to work at 5 in the morning and shit like that shit'll just take all of the criminal element about you. You know what I mean? Like, when you first get to jail, you probably gonna work in the kitchen. You gotta get up and cook breakfast for the rest of the inmates. Like, the kitchen detail, that's half of the jail. Half of the jail gets up at 6, 5, and 5:30 in the morning to go to work. You be tired as a motherfucker, man. You got to go, or else you gonna get a write-up and shit like that. That alone will take the criminal attitude up out you, having to get your ass up, go to that kitchen, man. You be like, this is crazy. And you got to serve food. Like, if you working on a line, you got to sit there and serve food, man, for like 3,000 motherfucking people and shit, man. You know how motherfucking, that shit just, that shit is abuse. Baby Bob, okay. If you had a full scholarship, Georgia Tech, Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get the notifications. Today is Charleston White Day of Reckoning. All day long, he's going to be on somebody's platform explaining what he was doing on that stand, telling on his friend and shit. I wonder what a guy had that he told on. He might have life because the dude died and shit. Charleston White got 12 years and shit. When you get 12 years as a juvenile, you done fucked up. You done fucked up. He said, I thought you was a Syracuse fan. I did a video on this channel where I was at Georgia Tech. I reenacted the Kenny Anderson move against Bobby Hurley. I was in there shooting around, letting people see this wet-ass jump shot. That was like a dream for me and shit, but I lived it out on camera on this channel. Just type in Gully TV, Georgia Tech. You'll see what I'm talking about. My man said I worked in the laundry. It was hell. Who was your toughest matchup in ball in Pennsylvania growing up? Nobody. I'm not exaggerating. I was a boxer one situation and shit. No one man was sticking me and having any success. When I was in the penitentiary, it was this Puerto Rican nigga named Disco. He used to irritate the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? Trying to stick me from baseline to baseline. No, he wasn't stopping me. No, he wasn't shutting me down. But he just made me work. So if that's a form of, I don't know. He was more so irritating than anything. But good morning, everybody. I woke y'all up this morning. I was like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. This is why Charleston White is pro-tell on everybody. I tell on this nigga. I snitch on this nigga. I call the police on this nigga. He didn't start out like that. He started out a criminal. He did. He started out on one side, and because he got caught, him and his friends got caught, they basically told him somebody was killed here. You better tell us who did it or all y'all going to jail for life. Them niggas from Texas, Charleston thought they was going to give him from now on. And he went in there and got to telling. That's the truth. That's the truth. Was Kobe's name ringing in Pennsylvania growing up in basketball? Not till high school. And it was a very brief. The team that he played in the state championship, he's from a high school called Lord Marion. The team that he beat was some dudes I grew up playing against. He played against a school called Cathedral Prep from Erie, Pennsylvania. And when you see that video, there's clips of it online. One of the guys that was sticking him, or trying to stick him, because they was sticking him collectively, but it's a specific clip. They like chasing Kobe around. One of the white dudes was a dude named Keith Neese. And that was kind of like one of my rivals growing up and shit. He said, y'all gonna wake Charleston White up early this morning. Oh, he already know. He already know. I'm pretty sure he's trying to figure out what angle he gonna take. He said, young Damon Wayans. That's what he looked like. Closed cropped hair. Yeah, young Damon Wayans. Good morning, everybody. Subscribe to the channel. It's over 300 people here. Y'all like the video. Get the likes up. Our next zip code episode, Zip's gonna have a party with this whole topic. He is. He said they caught him at 480p telling. He said, you got to drop more of that footage of you playing ball in your teens. The speech you did in the huddle was inspiring. The dude that gave me that footage, I was playing like the dude that I was playing against another team, and my man got footage. He played on the other team. He's a white boy named Joe and shit. He right down the hall right now and shit. I never seen the media show a child testifying to the public. Yeah, they used to blur their face out and shit, but it's Texas. Texas is a very different place when it comes to the judicial system. This is very well known. But they put his face on TV. I don't know. He said, okay, but with that being said, do you really think for 1 minute that's gonna stop other platforms like Say Cheese from paying him 10K an interview? Oh nah, he gonna go on an interview tour about this shit. He is. Say Cheese probably done already contacted him. They already probably got the thing in play. He don't care. Ain't nobody gonna people don't retaliate against snitches all like that no more. It was a time when, people would pursue them and shit. But in this day and age, man, you got cameras everywhere and it's just a different place and time, and they'll put you away for fucking with them snitches and shit. And them snitches know that. So that's why you see guys like Sammy the Bull or Michael Francis, them niggas told on the mob and shit. They not scared. They not hiding. That ought to tell you that we in a whole different world right now and shit. It was a time when it probably been detrimental to somebody's safety and shit, but now, mm-mm. He said that video will make him more money. Probably so. Did you show the video already? Nah, I couldn't show it, but if you follow Zip with the Drip on Instagram, you'll see it. The thumbnail that I have on this video, it comes from there. It comes from the actual video clip. I just screenshotted it. Y'all like this video, man. Good morning to everybody. It's Saturday. It's day 15 of Ramadan. We halfway there. We halfway there. But we know what gave birth to Charleston White. Charleston White was birthed at his whole character was birthed on the witness stand that day. And he said, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna run around telling everybody to snitch and shit like that. I thought the media couldn't show a child testifying. he didn't really look like a child. He looked like he looked like somebody from an episode of the Jeffersons and shit. I don't know what year that was, man, but that nigga, his barber. Oh, it was 91. It was 1991. I don't know what type of barber he was going to in 91, man. That nigga looked it old as fuck. His haircut wasn't right. He had no parts in his head, nothing. Just no fade, nothing. Oh, man. He says starter jackets came out about 1983, 1984. And by the time 85, 86 came, by the time starter jackets grew with hip hop. Hip hop just took them shits to a whole nother level. For real. Pittsburgh, what up? I don't know who Aaron the Plumber is, fam. I don't know who that is. Oh, man. Y'all ain't here bugging early this morning. Is Pennsylvania different from Ohio? Ohio is the Midwest. That's a whole nother region in Pennsylvania. It's the next state over, but they definitely listen to different music than we listen to and shit like that. Probably dress different too and shit. Niggas from Ohio was wearing finger waves and shit like that. That was some like player shit to them. I don't know who Aaron the plumber is, man. I don't know who that is. But I've been here 50 minutes. About to go watch this Charleston White video again, man, because it's jaw dropping. And they really played his testimony on the news and shit. That's what I mean by he had to go on the other side. There was no coming back from that. Probably because they put it on the news. Had they not put it on the news, he probably would have stayed on this side. But because it was on the news and everybody saw it, and now everybody, the world gonna see it now. That's why he chose the path that he chose. I'm about to tell on everybody. I'm gonna snitch this, I'm gonna snitch that. I'm gonna call the police on your motherfucker. That's where it was birthed at. That's where he learned that they broke him. They redirected his path. And he said, I'm gonna stay on this side because he could never come back. He could never come back to the other side after doing that. What do you think about Aaron the plumber? Cool or not? I don't know who the fuck that is, man. I don't know who that is. What was your top mint fragrance oil when you were selling them back then? Oh, Blue Nile. Blue Nile, hands down. And followed by like Egyptian musk. Them darker fragrances was a little bit more mature and sophisticated, like Tricar, Somali Rose. I started to appreciate Somali Rose as an adult, but growing up, Blue Nile was the shit. All my homies used to be buying it from me. Like, if somebody is wearing that, or if a person of a certain age go into the oil spot and they see Blue Nile, they probably gonna buy some. I got a huge bottle of it right now. Tonio, greetings, greetings, greetings. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, man. It's almost 350 people here. Been here since 5 a.m. I woke y'all up on this fine Saturday. It's Ramadan, day 15. Had to get this all out the way and shit. Ramadan has been affecting my uploads on YouTube, but this coming week, we back to the original content. If you haven't seen my interview with Big Dubes from the Sporty Thieves, check that out. Very informative and shit. He said, you need to get back to them oil sales. I plan on opening a boutique soon, and I probably would have oil in a boutique. I would. I had some bodegas about 8 years ago. I had 2 stores, and I sold oil out of one of them. Niggas still buy that shit. It was a barbershop next door, so niggas used to come out the barbershop and come, get something to drink and shit like that. Had an oil on the counter. They would buy that shit up. How does Zip even get that video? Somebody sent that to him. Y'all don't underestimate how many people send us content, send us paperwork, send us pictures. A lot of that shit come from your followers and shit. But somebody from Texas probably sent that to him. For real. Dope interview with Sporty Thieves. Thank you. Grand Rising. Thank you. Oh, Big Dubes is in the building. That's Big Dubes right there. Salute to you. You caught me promoting your interview. How about that? See, I'm in rare form, man. I'm working when you don't even know I'm working. I'm always working. Want the best for you, man. Want the best for everybody that stands before my camera and shit. We gonna win together. So yeah, make sure y'all go check out the interview. I put up 2 clips. There's more to come. There's still probably like 25 or 30 minutes left of that video. Shit. 55 minutes, man. I think I'm gonna get up out of here now. About to go lay back down for a little bit, watch some TV. And it's the weekend. Make sure y'all get to the gym, man. Work out. Make sure y'all work out, man. Matter of fact, on the weekends, you should work overtime. People have this perception that the weekends is for rest and relaxation. It's not. It's for you to work on self. Monday through Friday, you probably working for somebody else. Saturday and Sunday, take that time to work on self and shit. Straight up. He said, you dashing today. Do I look like I'm dashing, man? I look like I'm dashing, man. All these goddamn palm trees and shit outside. No. Nope, 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 nope. Taking a break. You shit gotta work for self. Yeah, nobody's more important than self. Who's more important than self? Nobody. Nobody, 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 nobody. Anyway, that brings my telecast to my live stream to an end. I'm about to go put my feet up, man, read, practice perfection, man. Y'all enjoy y'all Saturday. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Y'all like the video before y'all get up out of here. Follow me on Instagram at @IamGullyTV_. @IamGullyTV_. Charleston White all day long. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. If you haven't seen the video, go see it. It's on Zip with the Drip Instagram page. Mr. Let's get to that. Zip code episode 4 is coming soon. We're going to have a party with this whole topic. All right? Peace.